When Iran's missiles struck Tel Aviv, the shock wave was felt not only in Israel, it was felt in Washington, because engraved on the body of those ballistic missiles, visible in the images released to international media, were 3 words, Labbaik, Ya Sayyidi, here I am at your service, O my master. They were not merely weapons, they were a declaration, the assumption that shattered in the weeks following the assassination of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The architects of American strategy held a calculation at the center of their planning. The assumption was straightforward, that the Islamic Republic, decapitated of its leadership, would fracture, that the succession crisis would produce paralysis, division, or ideally an opening for regime change. Donald Trump had drawn the comparison himself, referencing Venezuela, where American pressure had helped shift political power toward a more favorable government. Iran, in his telling, would follow the same trajectory. It was one of the most consequential miscalculations in recent American foreign policy. Iran did not fracture. Iran did not hesitate. Within days, a new supreme leader was appointed, and his very first act of authority was to authorize a ballistic missile strike on Tel Aviv. The new supreme commander, born in 1969, Iran's new supreme leader, is not an unfamiliar figure within the Islamic Republic's power structure. He received both religious and worldly education, with studies at the seminaries of Qom, the theological heart of Shia Islam. Though his clerical rank does not place him among the most senior jurists, the circumstances of his appointment were not determined by religious hierarchy alone. They were determined by war. What gives him authority within Iran's military and revolutionary establishment is not solely his scholarship, it is his history. He fought alongside the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps during the Iran-Iraq War, the defining crucible of the Islamic Republic's military identity. In those years of attrition and sacrifice, bonds were forged that no political appointment can replicate. The IRGC does not merely recognize him as their supreme commander, they regard him as one of their own, and beyond military loyalty, there is something more personal and more dangerous. From Washington's perspective, his predecessor was his father. The new supreme leader is not only the inheritor of an ideological mission, he is a son tasked with the duty of vengeance. Trump had explicitly stated, in the lead-up to the conflict, that a wide range of Iranian political figures might prove acceptable in a post-Khamenei Iran, but not this particular individual. The reason for that exclusion is now self-evident. A man who must avenge a father's death does not negotiate. He retaliates, the answer to Trump's illusion when the announcement of the new supreme leader was made, and the chant of Allahu Akbar rose across Iran. The political message it carried reached every capital in the world. The Islamic Republic had not collapsed. It had not splintered. It had reorganized, and it had done so faster, and with more resolve, than any Western intelligence assessment had projected. The Strait of Hormuz remains closed. Global oil prices have surpassed $140 per barrel. An Iranian oil depot was struck, and fires were visible on the streets of Tehran. And still, the government did not yield. Still, the missiles flew. Drones have struck American embassies in Dubai and Saudi Arabia. The message directed at Gulf states that have permitted their airspace and territory to be used as corridors for strikes against Iran is now unmistakable. Proximity to American power does not guarantee American protection. Iran will reach wherever it chooses to reach. Global military analysts observing the conflict have noted a pattern that transcends any single engagement. Despite the overwhelming scale of American strikes, over 2,000 targets across Iran, Iran's ability to conduct coordinated multi-front offensive operations has not been eliminated. Its targeting of American military infrastructure across 9 countries, its naval and drone capabilities, and now its political reconsolidation under new leadership all point to the same conclusion. The campaign to break Iran has not broken Iran. The IRGC and what comes next with the new Supreme Commander now in authority, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps enters this next phase of the conflict with unified command and personal allegiance. Previously, military decisions passed through a committee structure. Deliberate, distributed, slower. That era is over. The man at the apex has spent decades immersed in the IRGC's culture, its operations, and its worldview. Decisions will come faster. Operations will be more direct. Iranian officials have already identified American targets that will not be spared. Among those named, the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, a symbol of American naval projection in the region, has been cited by name as a prominent target. Whether that threat materializes into action remains to be seen. What is clear is that the rhetoric has changed in character. This is no longer deterrence language. This is operational language. Knees that do not bend. There is a reference in Iranian political culture that carries the weight of centuries. The Battle of Karbala, where Imam Hussein refused to surrender to the Caliph Yazid, even at the cost of his own life and the lives of his companions, is not merely a religious event in Iran. It is a political philosophy. It is the doctrine that certain forms of submission are worse than death, that there are powers before which one does not kneel, regardless of the cost. The new supreme leader has invoked this legacy. The missiles inscribed with oaths of allegiance are its expression. Donald Trump believed he could engineer Iran's future from the Oval Office. Iran has answered, not with a press release, not with a diplomatic channel, but with ballistic missiles aimed at Tel Aviv, and a new commander prepared to go further still. The world is watching. The coming days will reveal what this new chapter demands of every nation that has a stake in its outcome.